Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show. My name is Leon Jones. Today is Monday, September 19th, 2016. Tune into the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show every Saturday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Also, this channel is not for the emotional or individuals who are into drama, so please be respectful. If you have a business or a topic that you would like for me to discuss on my Blog Talk Radio Show or YouTube, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Please feel free to comment. Make sure your comments are pithy. No bloviating, if you wish to opine. Now on to this evening's topic. Do Americans still need labor unions? Do Americans still need labor unions? That's a yes and a no. No. Would you work for a company that treats all workers exactly the same, no matter how hard they work? Or what about having a company that promotes only those on the basis of seniority instead of merit? Few Americans want a job with an employer who ignores their individual efforts. But yet, that's what labor unions offer employees today. This is a reason why union memberships are in decline. The premise of collective bargaining is that by representing all employees, a union can negotiate a better collective contract than each worker could get through individual negotiations. Now, because the union negotiates collectively, the same contract covers every worker regardless of his or her effort. Now, in the manufacturing economy of the 1930s, this worked reasonably well because employees, they basically worked in a factory setting on assembly lines. Now, today, we are in a knowledge or service economy. So collective representation makes little sense. Machines perform most of the repetitive manufacturing tasks of yesteryear. Now, employers want employees with individual insights and abilities. The fastest growing occupations over the past quarter century have been professional, technical, and managerial in nature. The jobs of the future include web designers, interior decorators, public relations specialists, among others. What happens is these jobs basically depend on creativity and skills of individual employees. Few workers today want a one-size-fits-all contract that ignores what they individually bring to the bargaining table. Union negotiated seniority-based promotions and raises feel like change to workers who want to get ahead. Additionally, economic changes mean that unions can no longer deliver large gains to their members. So unions boast that their members earn higher wages than non-union members. But what happens, they don't create money out of thin air. They use their bargaining power to take it from someone else, contrary to popular beliefs that someone is usually not business owners. It's consumers who pay higher prices when companies pass on the added cost to the union wage bill. But companies can pass on costs to consumers because they can't shop anywhere else. Deregulation and free trade have increased competition and the benefit to both consumers and the economy. Now, the North American Free Trade Act, known as NAFTA, also saves a family typically $200 or $2,000 a year. That's $2,000 a year. Now, that's based off this article that I got from the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative article. So I don't have the progressive article at hand. But utilizing what NAFTA has done, certainly it does lessen labor costs. But what happens is products are shipped back here and they're charged at a higher price to consumers here in America. And that's what NAFTA did. It offshored production and manufacturing to other countries for cheaper labor. However, increased competition also means that unions cannot win above market wages through collective bargaining. So companies no longer have monopoly profits to afford those inflated wages. Take General Motors, for instance. When it used to pay its janitors and security workers at a union rate of $75 an hour, however, when Toyota and Honda came into the United States and built better cars for less, they drove GM to the brink of bankruptcy and forced the United Auto Workers to agree to new contracts paying market rates. So as this happened at a number of other companies, the difference between union and non-union wages had begun to shrink. With the hiring practices of unions, the average union member still earns more than the average non-union member, but because unions are skilled negotiators, it's because unionized companies become very selective about whom they hire. Now, since unions make it virtually impossible to lay off underperforming workers, unionized companies take pains to hire more productive workers in the first place. The typical union member naturally earns higher wages with or without general representation. New workers who vote to join a union, however, do not earn more than they would have if they had not joined a union. These modern realities are colliding with problems that have been turned off by workers. We're talking about the corruption, the unaccountable leadership, and the members' dues that are funding the lifestyles of union bosses, not to mention the excessive funding of political activism, basically to the Democratic Party. Now, if you're a Democrat, that's good news for you, but the rank and file union members pay the bill. Now, the one sector that remains relevant is the government. Almost half of the union members now work in the public sector. The typical union member today works for places like the DMV, Department of Transportation, but these jobs are not on the assembly line. Unions fit more comfortably into the government workplaces due to the fact that there's more bureaucracy and governments have no competition. Here's what unions want to do. In order for them to reverse their decline, become relevant, unions want to take away a worker's right to vote when it comes to joining the union. Now, currently, unions have employees vote with secret ballot elections. Here's the problem. The employee or the employer and the union doesn't know which way the employer voted. So this is where the Employee Free Choice Act came into place. It was around 2008, 2009. This is a misnamed bill that abolishes secret balloting, organizing elections, and allows unions to press workers to publicly sign a representation contract. This is more or less bullying and fascism because unions want to press individuals to become union members so they can grow their union, which is a corporation. They make money off of memberships. Depending on what local you're in or what district you're in and what union, you have unions that will fight for you and you have unions that are so-so. Now, I was with PennDOT, and the union I was associated with was the AF, or what was called AFSCME, the American Federation for State, Municipal, and County Employees. District County or District Council, 88, and my local was 2455. Now, I do believe in unions in different industries. But in the private sector, you don't really need unions anymore. I worked for the federal government, the Army Corps of Engineers in the Chicago district. Yes, they had a union. It wasn't great. So you didn't have a lot of membership into the union. Now, here in Indiana, I live in Portage, Indiana, and it's a big union cabal out here. You have it in Lake County as well. Gary, you still have unions because you have mills. That's fine. What I don't like about unions, I don't like the bully tactics to get people to join a union if they don't want to join a union, and then they want to make an employee's life miserable. Again, that's fascism. That's not allowing the employee the right to choose. When you join a union, you must pay dues. And dues can run, depending on what union. I know for me it ran $70 a month. Now, here's what you can do if you understand unions. Write it off as an itemized deduction on a Schedule C when you file your 1040, and that reduces your AGI, which that is your allowable gross indicator, your AGI. In other words, if you make $2,000 and you put $800 in dues, then that lowers it down to about, let's say, $1,200. Or, I'm just giving you a figurative number. My math wasn't right on that. $52,000 minus $800, it's going to give you $51,200. I apologize. It's getting dark out here, but I'm just trying to let you all see the importance of understanding the union membership to utilize the donation as an itemized deduction, because I don't want to take anything away from unions because I was a union steward. But there are unions out there who have the mob rules type of ideology. Now, the Teamsters Union is a pretty good union. They work for the Pennsylvania Turnpike. They're out here for some of the mills in Gary and East Chicago. Unions are very good. But the two sectors that we need unions in are the government and the manufacturing. And the manufacturing because of safety and the environment where employees work. For government, yes, you must understand the bureaucracy. There's a lot of bureaucracy. And in government, because of the unions, it does make it hard for an employee to lose their job regardless of their performance. I know with PennDOT, they give you, in baseball you have 3 strikes, you're out. Well, they give you an oral warning, a written warning, a 1-day suspension, a 3-day suspension, a 5-day suspension, and then you're terminated. So you get 2 times 3. You get 6 strikes, you're out. But basically it doesn't get that far. Now it depends on your human resources, because human resources must understand the unions as well. And management must understand unions. So, in summary, depending on your industry, you can have unions. And if you're in the private sector, you really don't need unions. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing your job and you're doing it well and you don't have any problems, you don't need any representation, but your work's speaking for itself. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. And also, I want to apologize for some of the skips I had in this video, and I gave you the wrong date in yesterday's video. Yesterday was the 18th instead of 19th. Here on the 401 Talk Zone radio show, We do correct our mistakes, and I made sure I correct mine. So I want each and every one of you to listen to the content of this video, because remember to be gentle and respectful to each other. Have a wonderful and blessed night.